So I have found a dam. This is the dam. Let me turn off that. This is the dam. It's on a bay that's on one of the lochs, which is what they call the lakes here. So it's got a spillway right there. You can see it's kind of a steep, what they call OG structure, because an OG is the, I guess, the sign, the mass sign that it makes. It looks very similar. But yeah, so they can spill water down the spillway. It looks like there's probably also a little turbine house right there. I wonder if I can get a better view over here. The little turbine house will obviously have turbines in it, and so they can release water from the upper loch or lake through the turbines, and then it'll come out through these pipes. I'm not quite sure why they have the pipes. I'll have to look into it. I'm wondering if in these little, like this concrete structure here, there's more turbines, like inline turbines that will turn on so it can produce more power. Otherwise, once the water flows through the turbines, it produces the power and the water is just discharged and it's out of there. So I'm not quite sure why they would direct it unless that had another purpose to it. You can see at the top, we've got the crest road. Oops, I'll show you this. This is the little crest road, which is what I walked over. On the crest road, the very top, there's some little slide gates over there where you can open and close gates that will be probably the gates that release water into the turbines. And if the loch gets too full of water, then it'll just go off the top of the spillway. There's no gates or anything holding it. That's more of the, it's called emergency structure for the water to go down. So yeah, it's kind of exciting. I did know that this was here. I saw it in one of the hiking books that it was a scientific interest, and I am interested in science, so I came to check it out. And oops, there's sheep poop everywhere. Yeah, and you can see it's a cute little structure. I don't know how much water you would expect to go through here and how much energy it would produce. I bet that's all available online. I can look it up for y'all later. But it's really quite beautiful. So you've just been seeing the loch behind me. There is also the loch right over here. So it's releasing from the high one into this lower one. You can see it is, it's beautiful. There's the electric lines, so you'll need some sort of transmission line to move the power that's generated. So if this is generation, you've got transmission, so moving it long distances, and then distribution, which is moving it smaller distances into households and things like that. I haven't quite figured out the energy here. It looks like 3-phase, but I've seen some of the poles with 4 wires, and I don't know enough about electricity to really know what that's doing or why there's a 4th wire, unless it's 3-phase and then ground, or I don't know. I'm not very good with energy, but it is exciting to see this here. And yeah, it's just like sitting here amongst all these like cliffs, which you can tell have been formed from glaciers, and the glaciers, when they pull out of this region, they kind of cut these like craggy little features. And so one of the main tourist sites is actually up on that hill where the clouds are. I might go up there later. I think it's quite a hike. It's called Old Man Store, S-T-O-R-R. And so there's quite a few folks parked up on the upper road. Not as many people coming down this way. There was a couple signs that said private road, but I think in the UK you can still walk and hike through private roads. It's not like in the US. But yeah, it's fun just to like see all the sheep that are up and around. And there's one right here. Oops, where is he? I don't know if you can even see him by the road, right over there. So I'm gonna walk over towards him, and yeah, it's kind of fun. I'm definitely not wearing the right hiking gear. I've got my All-Stars on, so it's not the most ideal, but I really wanted to come over here and see the dam, and there it is. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see if I can get some more photos over here, and I'll post them to my Instagram and some other places. Yeah, this sheep is just like, does not care. He's like, I've seen you hikers so often. Okay, so I've had a few seconds to think about this some more. And I believe that these big concrete blocks here, those are what you would call thrust blocks. So as water is kind of moving towards a bend, it has a lot of force. And so in order to, I guess, have an opposing force so that the pipe doesn't, like move, you have a little thrust block, T-H-R-U-S-T, thrust. And so every time there's a little bend, there's a thrust block there, which, because of all of the fluids classes and all the thrust block calculations I did, I thought for sure I would be doing actual thrust block design a whole lot more in real life than I actually did. So I don't think I ever, maybe once or twice, designed a couple of thrust blocks, but yeah, it's quite a foundation for fluid dynamics and fluid classes for design. So my guess is that there's the pipe is there because when they bring water through the turbines, they've released it from the higher pressure lake to the lower pressure lake. Oh my gosh, this is hiking in the wrong shoes. So they release it through the turbines. It has a lot of pressure, a lot of velocity and force, and so they want it to be contained, so it's not just like eroding haphazardly or just eroding the cliff away. And it's less maintenance and more reliable, like where the water is going to be and what it can do, because water is quite a destructive force. This is a fun little path. All of the houses in Scotland are these white houses, white construction. And you can tell there's just like a ton of rock here that they use to build everything. My guess is this is a type of slate. It's got these really flat plains that are, that make these big old flat rocks. So it's quite fun seeing this geology here. It doesn't feel like summer. It feels like the longest day in winter, because it feels wintry, but then the sun doesn't go down till like 9:30 at night. And so yesterday I was driving and I was like, man, this is the longest winter day I've ever had in my life. And I was so tired from driving on the wrong side of the road. Cars were like coming in. I guess they don't really stick to their lane. If there's not a car in the other lane, cars travel more in the center. And so they've got these signs that you've got oncoming cars in your lane. And they really are oncoming and at like where you are driving. And so it just takes a lot of white knuckle driving. A lot of, just like paying attention to the road. And I was trying not to like be distracted by anything. Not that I have data or anything turned on my phone, so that's not an issue, but like the radio or taking photos or things like that. So yeah, it was quite the drive, and of course doing the stick shift on the other side is very different. And some of the things are the same, like blinkers are the same, the orientation of the stick shifts are the same. And so because of that, you start to think of everything as flipped, and then you end up doing the blinkers the wrong way. So, it was kind of fun driving. It was actually quite an experience, and I'm glad I did it. I'm not sure why they gave me a car. They probably should have asked a few more questions. Oops, I'm slipping. But yeah, we're gonna see what's down here. Oh, so back to the pipes. They probably just discharge right into this bay. This is called like Bearreraig or something like that. And I love how everything's just open and then okay. It makes exploring so much more fun. It feels a little naughty. These plaques are not saying a whole lot. You can see how beautiful it is here. So it'll come, the water will come through here's what's going on. Okay, so that's just an entrance structure up there. It's got the slide gates, it releases water. The energy is building up as it's coming through these pipes. It's got these big old thrust blocks to keep it so that the pipes aren't moving and everything is like static and protected. The water goes through the pipes, and it's kind of cute. They've got this little cart here in case you have to get up and down, so for their workers. That is probably very necessary for bringing like tools and supplies and things like that down to the turbine house, which is there. So that structure up the top is not the turbine house. This one is, and you can see there's a couple little slide gates. Ooh, let's go into, or not slide gates, gate valves. So all the valves are in line. Slide gates tend to be more of channels or square structures, and I'm assuming these are like gate valves or globe valves or whatever you use on giant lines. And they're right there. And you open those up. You open up the gates at the top. You get a huge slug of water that comes down. I'm actually not sure how they, you think you'd get like a huge pressure hammer. But I wonder if the turbines can just like take that amount of water, just go from 0 to on. And as the water goes through the turbines, it produces the power. Excess water is just going to be discharged into the bay. And then there's some sort of energy stuff happening at the, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. And I'm kind of shaky. So there's some energy things happening down there, which takes the generated power and transmits it up to places where they need power. So this is how they do it. This is definitely a place of scientific interest. And it's actually kind of fun to see that a few other people have come down this way and are like interested in it and like want to see not only the views, which I'm sure you can see everywhere on Isle of Skye, which is where I am, but also yeah, the scientific features in the water engineering here, power engineering. So it's just beautiful. I'm gonna hang out here for a bit and take a look at some things. I see down there's like a little let's see, there's like a little mortar structure. There's a lot of these just like old castle ruins all over Isle of Skye, and so that's what I'm gonna do today and tomorrow, is just kind of hike around and look for things and find castles and all sorts of stuff like that. So it's gonna be fun. But yeah, I'm super excited to see this here. So fun. Okay, so I wanted to show you the crest while I'm walking up. Excuse my pilfering. We'll see if I can take it on the plane. Yeah, so this is what they call the crest road. The crest is the top of a dam, and in this case they've put a nice little walking path on it. Here's the upper loch, which I don't remember what any of them are called, but this is the upper loch, and they've got a little bit of infrastructure here for maintaining. It's a lot more mossy and we call it, whenever there's cracks or falling in your concrete, we call those defects. So it's a lot more defects than I'm used to seeing in Texas, very different defects. But you can tell that they take care to, at least every once in a while, coat the metal to protect it from corrosion. You can see where the coating comes off is where it starts to corrode out. So yeah, this is the top structure. These are the slide gate wheels. You would turn these, but what I imagine they do, I don't know if I'm allowed up here, is there's some sort of mechanism that has a motor that turns it for them. because those would be really heavy gates, and I'm sure they easily seize up in their location. So you would need to have a little bit more power. This assembly here is, I forget what they call. They're basically like an overhead crane. And so if you want to raise and lift pumps or anything, basically, well, in my line of work, it's pumps. So if you want to put anything that's heavy into the ground or move it around, you've got these little structures. You can see this one's very corroded. I'm sure it's hard to fight the corrosion here. I don't quite know what this is with a little handle. I'm sure it's to move these kind of back and forth and do stuff like that. Over here, I don't know what that is. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I don't know. You can kind of see where the stem on those slide gates goes down into the reservoir, and I'm sure there's a hole on the other side, so it is like protecting or covering the hole so that water doesn't go through. You've got some little holes down there so that water can run off the top and keep this relatively dry as it is raining. I'm sure there's like motors or something in there that's like all protected. And maybe I'll show you the sheep, little sheep. And yeah, this is the spillway. Spillways make me nervous. I don't know how guys hang off ropes, belaying down, doing inspections and things like that. But that is a big part of dam safety, is inspecting the dams. I've actually been working on a project that we call dam monitoring and inspection, and it's basically the software that you would use to help augment your dam inspections. So you have some sort of AI code, which I didn't write, obviously. It's actually been adapted from the code that's used to find cracks in bridges and things like that. And so we're applying it to our dams business so that you can put in some drone imagery and maybe some just regular photos, and the AI can look for where you have defects and cracks and things like that. So whenever you go out to site and you've got a guy who's 60 years old and is a senior engineer and is belaying down the side of the dam, he knows exactly where to go and look and be able to take measurements at that spot. And obviously when he's out there, he's going to look at the rest of it. But the idea is to spend a lot less time doing your actual inspection out in the field, where it's more dangerous, where it's rainy conditions like this, where you've got wildlife, which in Texas, the wildlife is a lot more dangerous and venomous than it is here. These sheep are like, what the hell is she talking about? Yeah, they're gonna run. They're like, yep, we're out of here. Peace. So, yeah, that's the dam monitoring and inspection. It does some other things. Basically, we call it an iTwin, or there's a digital twin platform. I wouldn't really consider that a digital twin. I'd consider it more models and augmenting your workflow with models. But yeah, it uses the digital twin platform, which look at these little sheep. They're so funny. I'm just gonna chase them here out. So yeah, that's dam monitoring and inspection. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to put my rain hood back on because it's starting to rain a lot more, and I'm pretty sure my phone is not waterproof. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.